going on, guys? This is Qazi. Welcome back to another epic video. 7 things I wish I knew when I started color grading. And I'm telling you, this is genuinely a little over a decade worth of experience that I'm trickling into this one. So Notepad is a must. And for those that haven't signed up for my masterclass, you still have time until August 18th. I have 35% off on my masterclass right now. So link is down below. You should check it out. And I promise you, this class is for modern day filmmakers, YouTubers, content creators, people that want to take their production to a whole another level. You will be able to do that within a month. What makes my masterclass so different than everything else out there is that I don't only teach you the hard skills that you need to be a really good colorist and take your production to the next level, but I teach you how to sell that skill, how to have a profitable career as a freelancer. So for those that hate their 9-to-5, this could be your way out. I promise you. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So worst case scenario, you don't dig it, you get your money back. It's a win-win situation. Click the link below. As soon as you join, drop a comment below. Let us know that you're one of us. And on that note, if you're enjoying the content, you already know what to do. Smash that like button, subscribe to my channel for more awesomeness. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, and let's roll the intro. All right, let's get the show on the road. First thing that I wish I knew is getting your client involved early in the process. What do I mean by that? So let's create a hypothetical scenario. Here's our shot. This is a program that we're working on. We want to ask our client, what are you looking for? What do you hope to achieve from this grade? And the client goes something like this. They're like, we're looking for more of a ESPN 30 for 30 series trailer where it's just grungy and overall it has this warm tint to the entire image, tons of grain, 16 millimeter film vibe. Once you gather that information, it's game over. That was something that I wasn't doing in the beginning. I would just like create my own grade and then flip the coin thinking that either the client is going to love it or hate it. And that is the dead giveaway that you're an amateur. So get your client involved early on in the process. Now, number 2, which is the power of primaries. This right here, this section. I feel like anybody that's starting out, including myself, I would just like to overcomplicate things instead of like simplifying it. And the more you learn about color grading, what you realize is that this right here is gold. And you have to take full advantage of this before you move on to other tools. So let's put it into an example. So here's my first node. I'm just going to call it primaries. And what we're going to do before we even start working in our primaries, let's lay out the entire node tree structure. And then I'm not going to tell you what's all these nodes are for. I'm going to take you through them later. Okay, so don't freak out. This grade is not going to be that complex, but we're going to be using 10 nodes here. So now let's go in our 10th node, drop in color space transform, and then select proper settings, which is Alexa and Alexa log C, because it was shot on Arri Alexa. And as soon as we do that, we have a proper conversion. It looks pretty good right off the gate. So now we're in our primaries, and let me show you the power of primaries, okay? So say we want to make the image a bit more neutral. Right now it's like really, really warm. So we want to just pull back from it a little bit. All I have to do here is just go under my gamma and start subtracting some of that warmth. And just look at that, like how easy it was for me to balance out the image. And you can even see it here. You see the blue channel to the red channel. And now we're balancing this image out. Now, it's not necessary since say these lights are warm, so we can keep it like that. But it's always a good rule of thumb to balance out your image. And there's no better tool out there than your primaries to do that. And just look how quick that was. Let's say we want to kind of bring up this image because it's just kind of dark. So it's really moody. So we can just use my gain and bring it up. We don't have to bring it up too much. And then we can use my lift to kind of bring that down to still keep some of that drama. So I'm using my gamma now to pull it down. And if I do before and after, look at the amount of difference that we made in our image, literally just using these tools right here. Okay, so the power of the primaries is unreal. Make sure you're tapping into that before you're moving on to other tools. Now we're going to move into our next tool, and I'm actually going to just call my nodes to what I'm doing and all the steps of this process. So now let's just focus. I'm going to do a 1-up. I'm going to select Vectorscope. use your vector scope to balance out your image, okay? And I'm gonna undo this since I didn't make any changes here yet. Basically, the rule of thumb is this. This intersection right here in the middle, the closer you are to this, the more balanced your image is, okay? And I'm gonna use my printer lights, this offset settings right here, to dial my image more in the center. Right now, it's still leaning in this quadrant, so let's just balance it out a little bit more. So I'm gonna go under my printer lights. I'm gonna add a bit more blue and then subtract a little bit of yellow. Maybe just add just a tiny bit cyan to bring it down. And then let's just go half printer light. And let's see, if I take out the blue a little bit more, and then let's see, do we want to add a bit more red? So that is up to us. We can leave it like this and look at how much more balanced it is. So like, look at how before we thought this was really good, right? Like, because if I go here and turn it on and off, we had already made such a big difference. But by using our vector scopes, it made it so easy to just make our image actually balanced by looking at the scopes, okay? That's why it's really, really important and something that I didn't used to do in the beginning. I wish I knew this technique. That would have saved me so much hassle, because when you're first starting out as a colorist, majority of your jobs are not going to be like, hey, let's try to tell a story through the art of color. It's going to be more like, let's cover up these mistakes and just make everything look balanced. So this would have been really valuable when I was starting out. Now, let's move on to another one of my favorite tools, which is this right here, our log parameters, okay? It's very different than our lift gamma gain. So here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch back to parade now. And what we're seeing at the bottom here in the scopes is that my blues are really lifted, and then my green, and then my red. So this tool right here helps us balance everything out. So just watch what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be messing around with my shadows here. So all I'm doing is I'm genuinely looking at my scopes and I'm trying to balance it out, okay? So I'm just like, all right, let's just get the blues and the greens and the reds on the same spectrum. And now what's gonna happen is if I go and do before and after, you can see it clearly. I can punch in here, and if I do before, like look at the blue in his pants here to like after, and now it's way more neutral and you can see it here. So like all that blue cast that we were getting in our shadows is completely gone. The image is way more neutral, and it really affects the entire image. Not just that, like even like his skin is looking better than before. See, like in this area, like this is before, there's so much blue and we can see it here. Actually, let's do this so we can hover over and you can see it on the scope, what I'm looking at. And then if I do this, like see how much more neutral it is now, okay? So that's the power of your log controls. And once again, I wish I knew to use it how I'm using it today. Back in the day, I wasn't using it to properly adjust my black and white points. That's not the only use for the log controls, but it is one of the most powerful tools to quickly balance out your shot, especially your anchors, blacks and whites, okay? So the whites are looking good. I'm not too mad about it, although I feel like this right here, if I go to the whites right here, we do see that there's just a little bit more red than the blue. So what we can do is I can go under my midtone and just pull up the blue just a little bit. So something like that, right? Just a little bit like that. So now if I hover over, we're very much even, and you can see it. See, like all three, like we're really, really even, okay? Right there. So now I can just leave it like that. And if I do before and after, once again, guys, we're taking out the cast. We're just making the image look really proper, all right? And now this is what's called your base grade. So this is what you want to do. If you have 100 shots and you want to start creating a really cool look and grade it and all that, before you get to grading one shot and then try to apply it on all the other shots, you want to create a base grade, which is this. So this looks neutral. This looks good. At this point, you can even bring your client back in and show them this. So be like, hey, this is how it was shot in Rec 709. This is where we're sitting right now. And now I'm going to go in and start creating a look. Okay. So up until this point, We made sure to get the most colors out of our image, bring up the exposure, make everything look proper. This is what you will need to do all 100 shots first before you go in and start grading it, okay? So now let's move on. And this is where we get into our fun stuff, which is the HSL curves. So here, what are we looking at? Remember our clients said that they're looking for a little bit of a vintage look, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this right here, go in here and just open it up just a tiny bit, and I'm in my hue versus hue. So what I'm going to do is let's try to make this a little bit smaller, and let's go back to Vectorscope and let's keep it somewhere around here so we can really see what I'm doing. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Let's put it somewhere around here. Good. All right, so now I'm in here, okay? Look what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go in the middle point and I'm gonna start moving it. And again, going for that vintage vibe. So this blue is not as vintagey to me than this, right? So that just adds just a tiny bit more. And it's just the small details that are really gonna bring this whole thing together. So that's what I'm gonna do here. Next thing that I wanna do is I wanna go under my hue versus saturation. And I want to just literally grab my yellow and I want to start pulling it down. And it's going to give us like this steely, like a little bit of a bleach bypass look. Like, look how clean everything is looking, right? So it's going to put us right there. And I like what it's doing. Okay, I really like what it's doing. And then the last thing that I'm going to do to really cash out that bleach bypass effect is go under the sat versus luma. And then grab it from here and raise it up, and like look at what it does. It like adds that silverish quality to the footage. And then this brings our highlights down. Okay, so it does a little bit of damage control. And now what we can do is go back to our primaries and take our midtones or take our gamma and just kind of bring it down a little bit, not too much, something like that. So look at HSL curves, how much it affected our image. And this is where we started to have a lot of fun with our image. Just look at that, what we're doing with our image, okay? So after this point is where the experiment and fun begins, because that was another thing when I was first starting out. I wasn't very experimental because I didn't even know what to do. My knowledge was very limited. So now let me show you, once you start having fun is where the look comes from, okay? So we're gonna go under glow. I'm gonna type in glow. I'm gonna drop it in and just look. I'm gonna change that to soft light. I literally stumbled upon soft light by experimenting. This is how I figured out about what soft light did. And now I'm just gonna grab the threshold and move it back. And once again, remember the client is looking for a very dramatic, like a UFC trailer or a 30 for 30 trailer look, okay? They made it very clear. So we can be pretty bold with our moves. I'm gonna go under my blend and I'm gonna kind of split the difference and keep it somewhere around here. So look at, we don't even need to create power windows or anything. We're creating such a cool vibe and mood here, but it gets better. Click on colorize, and this is where we're gonna start bringing in. Remember they said they want like a really warm feel. Just look at that, like this vintage feel we were able to create, boom, boom, just like through our glow effect. And what do we want to do? Do we want to like really push it a bit more? Like maybe we keep it somewhere around here. I mean, just look at the difference we made just with this node. None of this information is lost. Okay, I'm going to go back in my 4-up and show you what I'm talking about. So let's make this a little bit bigger so we can actually go into our 4-up. And let's try to make it smaller. This is as small as it's going to be. So let's put that there. Let's put parades here. Let's put waveform here. This is great. So look at how we were able to create that vibe, yet everything is protected, nothing is blown out, okay, anything like that. Now what I can do is I can come in here, and this is gonna be a pretty cool effect, okay? So I'm gonna go in my midtone detail, okay? And I'm gonna start cranking that up, and look what's happening around his shoulder area, like how much detail we're about to pop in this area. Now, I don't like what it does to the rest of the image. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get very creative, and we're actually gonna create a shape around him, and then we're gonna feather that out, okay? That is totally normal. Like adding texture is a whole another dimension when it comes to color grading. Like colors are not the only thing that you need to put your focus on. You also need to think about how to create texture in your footage to like really make it stand out. Next thing that I'm going to do, I'm actually going to delete this node. I'm going to go here and I'm going to create an outside node. So outside node is basically, hey, leave this, but select everything outside of it. And now I'm going to do something opposite to what we did there. I'm actually going to add blur under my blur radius, and I'm going to crank it up to like around 55-ish, okay? So you might think like nothing is really happening, dude, but let me show you. Once we punch in here, and now if I do before and after, look at that. Not only is cleaning up the noise, but it's creating this, again, really cool effect. So like if I take this and turn it on and off, like look at how much texture we added. Like his body, like this, like the back muscles are popping out of the screen. We almost created that 3D. And then look at like how we're just taking the focus away from this right there. Okay, so that is a very, very cool effect and something that I use quite often. Now, what do we want to do? I'm going to go into this node. So let's start naming these two. So this is midtone detail. And then this one was our just blurring the background. And this one is going to be my grain. And once again, this said 16 millimeter, like really grungy feel. So I'm going to go select the archival, or actually, you know what? Actually, let's select the archival print. And now if I punch in and show you what's happening, and then one thing that we can do is we can go in here and just add a little bit of saturation, not too much. And now if I do before and after, look how realistic it looks, like it was shot that way. And the character that we are adding to our footage is just absolutely unreal, okay? And this is our CST. So this is the, like literally this right there that was supposed to be our, these 4 nodes that were supposed to be our experimental node. This is where the grade comes from, guys. Look at this. Like I wouldn't have found out about these until I started messing around with these tools. And that's why experimentation when it comes to color grading is essential, okay, for your growth and getting to a point where you become somebody's go-to guy or girl, all right? So just look at how much of a difference we made. I had this node here for something, but I don't think I'm going to be using that. I was going to show you guys that how color boost, you can add some color. Instead of using saturation, you can use color boost, because the difference is that color boost pumps up a lot of juice in your midtones instead of like your highlights and shadows. Whereas the saturation is just like a linear thing that adds overall saturation in your shadows, highlights, midtones. Whereas color boost is only focusing on the midtones, and you can see like all the detail that we're getting in this area. But honestly, with what we created, I don't think we need it. So I'm actually going to kill this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on this level so we can like really see the entire process. So I'm going to take all of these. Let's kill them. And we started with the CST. Why is the CST at the end? You can jump into my course, or you can watch my free webinar to understand why I put it downstream instead of upstream, okay? So I go pretty deep in explaining you the entire process and why it's at the end. So this is our Rec 709 phase. And the first step was we got a good understanding of what the client wanted. Then we went in and we used our primaries to start creating color separation. And that's the best way to do it, because you're not really doing push and pull and degrading your footage. Then we went in to our Vectorscope, and by using Vectorscope, we were further able to balance our image and create this color separation. I mean, look at that. Like up until this point is sort of like still a tint. And then after that, everything is looking so much better. We used our log wheels to get proper black and white points, and that made a huge difference, okay? So there is a blue cast in the shadows, and we can see it in our scopes too, right here. And then we were able to balance that out. And then HSL Curves really helped like carve this look, like where we started driving this entire image into this vibe that we wanted to create. And then this is where the experimentation started. We started with the glow, and just look at what it did. Like one quick swing, boom, put us in the ballpark of like what the client wanted, and showed you a really cool technique to add texture to your image. by using midtone to like really pop out, because that's the story, right? Like this is our dude. Like we need to focus on him, and then took everything outside of that and just blurred it out to like give this surreal look. And then added the grain that the client requested, 16 millimeter grain, pretty heavy, and it just gives it that gritty feel. And now let's check out the final look in full screen. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and honestly, these are probably the most practical tips that I can give you, and genuinely things that I wish I knew before I started color grading. So guys, do not forget to check out the special offer on the masterclass. Link is down below. And as I already mentioned, this masterclass is for people that want to be profitable as a filmmaker and especially as a freelancer. So it's not just color grading that we're talking about. We are talking about taking those skills and actually making money off of it and taking your career to the next level. So check out that link. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to my channel for more awesomeness, and I will see you in the next video.